First, sponsored by Matex Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
A very calm and quiet one for us across the area. You can see nothing on the satellite radar picture in a 4-state region around us. Temperatures falling now back down to the upper 20s. Watsika, Lincoln, Pontiac, Springfield with the popular number of 28 right now. Out the door in the morning, you will find temperatures down into the mid-20s to start the day. A quiet Saturday, sunshine mixing in there. The first half of the weekend, no issues. The second half does get a little wet. I've got new model data to share with you with the pinpointing of the timing of our rain. We'll show you that coming up. WCIA 3 News starts right now.
Now from WCIA 3 News.
I'm the mom of 2 daughters, and I just kept thinking about how that could be either one of them.
The story of Ying Zhang's kidnapping and killing gripped central Illinois for more than 2 years. And tonight, people watched it play out all over again.
Plus, nearly 90 dogs filled a home in Champaign, while the owners of the house are now facing charges.
The deadline for one bridge to reopen has come and gone. Why this project was delayed.
You're watching your local news leader. This is WCIA 3 News at 10.
Tonight, people across the country were reminded of the harrowing story of the kidnapping and killing of U of I scholar Ying Zhang. Good evening, I'm Paul Cicchini.
And I'm Jessica Coons. A 2020 special report recapped the gruesome details of the death of the 26-year-old from China and what led up to the conviction of the man responsible for it all. WCIA 3's Jennifer Jensen is in our newsroom tonight. Jennifer, people here in central Illinois, a lot of them have been tracking this since the beginning.
Jessica, this community has been invested in what happened to her since the start of all of this. It's one of the most high-profile cases in central Illinois. And as people watched the report tonight, they were reminded of the tragedy all over again. In June of 2017, a young woman was abducted, raped, and brutally murdered. Her name is Ying Zhang, a name many people across the world now recognize.
I have such empathy for her family. I have empathy for her in that situation, in that very moment.
Inside cameras show her walking toward the back, taking a seat.
Jill Bowers is one of many who watched the 2020 special that recapped the details of how Brent Christensen plotted the crime. It showed how Zhang was kidnapped, the challenges the FBI faced in the investigation, and what led up to his arrest. Bowers has been following the case from the beginning. As she watched the TV special, she was reminded of how impactful this has been.
I think he was a very disturbed person that comes from a disturbed childhood.
One of the most disturbing parts of this story is audio surveillance Christensen's girlfriend captured of him admitting what he did to Zhang.
I covered her off and just started doing stuff to her, and I choked her for just been 10 minutes. I carried her into my bathtub, grabbed the bat, and I hit her on the head as hard as I could, and it broke her head open.
This sent a surge of emotions through those who were watching what happened.
It makes me angry. It makes me angry as a woman, as a mom of 2 girls. Like, if anything like that happened to my kids.
This story also marks a reminder of the pain Zhang's family went through for years, wondering why this happened to their daughter.
All of the things that are going through their head, like what they could have said or done, and they couldn't, the fact is they couldn't have done anything different.
Christensen was tried in June, 2 years after he was arrested. He was found guilty of kidnapping and killing Ying Zhang and lying about it to the FBI. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of release. Zhang's body was never found. In the newsroom.
Jennifer, by the end of this special, what was Bowers' reaction to this? She's been following it so closely. She even went to court to support the family at one point.
She's been very invested in this case. It's one experience to watch things be revealed throughout the course of 2 years, but seeing it all unfold within the span of 2 hours tonight was very emotional.
All right, Jennifer, thank you so much. Now, along with Zhang's family and FBI agents, Brent Christensen's father was also interviewed. U of I spokesperson Robin Kaler was included as well.
A teenager in Danville is charged with murder in connection to a deadly shooting earlier this week. The Vermilion County State's Attorney says 18-year-old Lamont Davis is involved with the death of 20-year-old Justin DeBarris. He and a 23-year-old man were shot on Hazel Drive Monday night. The 23-year-old survived. Davis is being held on $5 million bond. New at 10, a man in Springfield is facing several charges after being accused of a hate crime. Eric Pippin was arrested yesterday. Police said he threatened a man and called him racial slurs. After officers arrived, they said Pippin used racial slurs against one of them, threatened to kill him, and spat at them when they tried to arrest him.
We have an update for you tonight. This week, we've been following the case of more than 80 dogs found in a home in Champaign. Those homeowners are charged with failure to provide humane care and treatment of animals. The state's attorney's office says a city employee contacted animal control about a horrible smell coming from the house and what sounded like a large number of dogs inside. Investigators found nearly 90 infested with fleas. 60 of those dogs are being cared for by animal control. The rest have been sent out for adoption. Springfield Park District Police are investigating a possible sexual assault that took place at JC Park. Nobody is in custody, but Park Police say there's a possible connection between the sexual assault and an incident that took place at Franklin Middle School earlier this month. In that case, a 19-year-old is accused of sneaking into the school and assaulting a 12-year-old. He told police that boy hurt his little sister.
DCFS is making changes after 2 teenagers in its care were placed in handcuffs and taken from a shelter on the south side of Chicago to another in the suburbs. The teenagers were not in trouble. The agency says the incident was unacceptable and against department policy. It also says effective immediately, only soft restraints are to be used during secure transport and only when court ordered or when ordered by a psychiatrist. The impeachment inquiry into President Trump continued this morning with a former ambassador to Ukraine. Marie Yovanovitch testified before the House Intelligence Committee. The president took to Twitter attacking her and then tried to defend her removal as ambassador. Senator Dick Durbin is not involved in the hearings, but said he didn't like what he was seeing. Durbin says the president's tweets are intimidation in real time.
The fact that the president would be tweeting about this ambassador while she is testifying before the United States House of Representatives is nothing short of intimidation. He is trying to put pressure on her politically and otherwise. That is unacceptable in our system of justice.
Take a look. Here's the tweet from the president that Durbin was referencing. The president wrote in part, quote, "Everywhere Yovanovitch went turned bad," and the Ukrainian president, quote, spoke unfavorably about her.
One Champaign construction project is running into delays. The Bradley Avenue Bridge over I-57 was supposed to be done today, but its completion date is being pushed into December. They say it's a mixture of the weather and some scheduling issues. This is the second time the project was pushed back. The contractors got a 3-day extension because of the rain in April and May.
I'm sure that the frustrations will grow, and I understand that, but I hope people will be patient with us, and I think they'll enjoy the product after it's done. But you know, it just takes some time, and we're pushing hard as we can to get there.
Right now, they're working on pouring concrete on either side of the bridge, also working on the storm sewer and sidewalks. That bridge will also be getting some new turn lanes and better lighting.
Some people won't have to worry about not having a place to stay this winter. How one organization is making sure they don't become homeless.
Plus, dozens are spending the night out in the cold in boxes, why they're seeing what it's like to not have a home.
And often basketball recruiters go across the country to see prospects play. Why it's the opposite for one recruit tonight.